Hey guys, welcome back to the greenhouse. I'm Jesse with Green Chick Gardens. Tonight I have a couple of plant updates that I wanted to show you. Okay, so this one is our Monstera Ocean Spray. It is probably my favorite Monstera. This one went through a little bit of stress while we were renovating the house. I didn't take care of these as well, and it had some thrips damage. I cut off the damaged parts of this leaf. That's why it looks so wonky. Actually start to put out a new growth point. When it did, this growth point was damaged. It came that way when I first got this, so I was a little weary of it as it came in the mail, but I said, hey, let's keep going with it. It is finally just about to get this new leaf to come out. I don't want to touch it too much because I'm too scared to. However, you can see some fenestration right there. Awesome. And there are definitely have some marks of variegation going on here as well. And this one I'm just so thrilled to see finally growing. It has been a long process to get it there. We did take off a bottom cutting of this that we did have one more node on, and it did sprout. However, it doesn't look as good as the other one. I'll show you some shots of it as well. But it's okay, and I mean, obviously we have two now, so that's definitely something, that's definitely a positive. But this one is the one I wanted to show you most of all. I am so proud of it, and I can't wait for this thing to unfurl. I come out here every morning, and this is the first plant I look at. So the Hoya Blooms you can see above me on this long vine here, we recorded those in another video we made, and I actually didn't even notice them until one day I was out here watering and I just saw all these vines up here. We've been waiting on them to bloom. We actually have our first one that's finally bloomed, and that is just a beautiful looking flower on it. And I'll have to take a smell and see what it smells like. I actually smelled it, and it is a beautiful smell. Actually, it reminds me kind of like a grandma's perfume. It's a very nice smell, very pleasant smell. I hope as more of these bloom, maybe we can get a little bit of a stronger smell going in here of that. But pretty interesting. I've never saw this many blooms on a vine before. I'm not a Hoya guy. I only have this one Hoya. I got this as a gift from someone. I don't even actually know what it is, what type it is. Hoya Splash Abovada or something, I believe, maybe. But it's put out all these lovely flowers, and I just thought I'd let you guys see that first one that we've just got. Tonight is the first time I've noticed that it's even been flowering, so pretty interesting. So one of the plant chores we have for tonight is I got more Ladybugs in. Got 3,000, 1,500 in each bag, and it's been about a month and a half or so, maybe a little bit over that, since I last introduced some Ladybugs in here. And this is just what I do as a preventative measure for some pests, just to keep them out of here, and that way I don't have to use chemicals or pesticides or any of that good stuff. We'll just use the good old natural nature instead. So I just open that up, and I'll just go drop this out in between a couple of my plants, and they'll, as the night goes on, they'll make their way out and into the world. So like I said, I just cut this open, and that way the Ladybugs can get out. You can see they're already crawling their way out, and I'm just going to place this in here in my plants, and they'll start to head on out, and hopefully they'll go, and if there's any bad bugs in here, they'll go ahead and munch on them. So I have a couple of Monstera Albos that are coming out with some pretty awesome looking leaves, so I thought I would just show you a couple of those while we're at it. So this first one has just came out with this new leaf. This was a cutting that just recently got going. The first leaf was a super tiny leaf here, but very beautiful half moon. And then the next leaf to come out is the one it's been with for a while, and it's a pretty looking leaf, but nothing special. Now the last leaf that has just came out, hasn't even hardened off yet, is almost full white. It's got a decent bit of green in there, which makes me feel okay about it, seeing as hopefully that green will stay around, and so the next leaf will hopefully at least have some green on it. We don't want all white, of course, but it is always awesome when we can see leaves like this that are just stunning and super white. Hopefully we can bring that throughout more of this plant and get just a absolutely stunning super white Monstera Albo. Now that's not the only one I have. This next one has just been doing great for me as well. It was actually my front runner for my favorite Albo of all the cuttings I've taken in the last round of cuttings. Now when this one started, it put out a beautiful, beautiful half moon leaf here. Absolutely stunning. This was my favorite leaf of all the Monsteras that had just came out. The next one, we did get a little pest damage on this, and I think it stunted the growth on this one a bit. And it was also not as variegated, but a good leaf nonetheless, and I won't complain about any of them really. Now the last leaf that once again hasn't hardened is a beautiful half moon, and this other side is just a very minty colored green with many speckles of white in it, and it is a stunning leaf. I hope we can hold this pattern that we have going here with these great half moons, and every other leaf is a great half moon. And on the other side, you get this, you know, stable white variegation. Hopefully we can continue that on and have another impressive Monstera Albo. I feel like I've had a good bit of luck with my variegation on my Albos lately. Most of mine are pretty solid variegation. I have one that reverted, and I think I've had one, maybe two that have went full white on me. I have a couple more that are basically going full white on me. This one, it's not full white. This was the first leaf to come out, and it's now starting to brown. You can see that. The next leaf that did come out was essentially full white. There's a bit of green in the main vein here. You can see that. And then the newest leaf, which once again hasn't hardened off. These are all growing great. We're getting new leaves, you know, every month, maybe every 3 weeks at this point right now. It has a little bit of green on it once again. So we're holding on to our green. So we're holding on hope with this plant. But boy, that's a lot of white. Will easily brown, which is a problem. And we've already seen it with this leaf right here. But we'll just keep growing it out, see what we can get out of it. We could end up with a beautiful, beautiful specimen of basically white with just a little bit of the green along the veins here. You see it's right there. We have it right here on this vein, and we have it right here on the tip of that vein. Very interesting. Some Monsteras grow different than others. It's something that I find fascinating. Enjoy learning about each one of these as we grow. Not all Monsteras are the same. You never know what you're going to get with each new cutting that you take. So I'll leave you with one more Monstera Albo, and then it's going to be time for me to get off to bed. This one is also showing great promise. I'm thrilled with this one. It started out super, super white, and it was interesting. There's just a tip of green here on this side. However, if you were to flip it over, it's super green. It's very weird. Very weird to me. I don't see that too often. And then this thing just started putting out super white variegation. The next leaf that came out was sadly all white, so we had to cut that one off. It browned up and went. And then the next leaf to come out was a great variegated leaf again. Then the next one was all white again. And this one will probably brown, you know, before too long. And then the next leaf to come out, and this one's just almost hardened off here, is another beautiful, very white, variegated Monstera leaf. This one I am thrilled about. I think as we get this one up, growing a little taller, a little larger, these leaves will look stunning. So that's just a couple of the exciting things we've got growing here in the greenhouse. There is plenty more. These are just the things that I had noticed tonight as I was making my nightly rounds before I go in. And I wanted to just get a couple shots and let you guys see some of these new growths we have, these new beautiful leaves that we have coming out on these Albos and our Ocean Spray Monstera, along with the peduncle and the bloom that is growing on our Hoya. It is absolutely beautiful and smells great. So we're just going to let these ladybugs all roam around here tonight, have a good time, find any bugs that may be up to no good here in the greenhouse. So that's all I've got for you tonight, guys. Remember to like and subscribe. I'm Jesse with Green Chick Gardens, and I'll see you next time.